Hey everybody, I'm back to the fourth corner. Bring another video. Because I felt like it. Doing one. And you ain't gonna stop me, okay? So today we're gonna talk about 10 people who didn't die the way you think they did. The deaths of famous figures are some of the most discussed events in history over the years. Over the years, sensational stories became sentimented into the history books, often with sensational details and speculation included. Over a lack of basic medical knowledge in the past has led to many misunderstandings about how history's greatest men and women met their end. Modern historical and medical analysis has challenged many of the causes of the death that were once widely considered fact. Greater understandings of diseases and in-depth research into first-hand accounts from the time have led to new theories about the deaths of some of the world's best-known individuals. Number 10. Edgar Allan Poe. Cooing or rabies. The famous American writer Edgar Allan Poe was found wandering the streets of Baltimore on Election Day in 1847, delirious and wearing a stranger's clothes. He died a few days later at a local hospital. He was 40 years old and was never coherent enough to say what happened to him. One of the most accepted theories that developed was that Poe suffered an incident of cooping. I think this is cooping. This was a practice where men would be kidnapped off the street and taken to different polling places to vote for the same candidate repeatedly. The fact that Poe seemed to be drugged and was dressed strangely added to this theory. However, the writer may have been too well known for this scheme to work. It has been debated that Poe was an alcoholic during his life, and this may have contributed to his death, although his friends strongly disputed this. A recent theory suggests that Poe may actually have died of rabies. He exhibited many of the key symptoms of the disease, including confusion and difficulty swallowing. What animal the author got too close to is unknown. Quoth the raven, "It wasn't me." Edgar Allan Poe, man, he was a good writer. Can't show stuff in the air. What cat would you want? Y'all want another cat reveal? It's a different cat. I got 5 cats. There's one. There he is. There's one. Can you see him? Balls, you can't see him. Can you see him? Yeah, you can't. You can barely see him. He's a black cat. Yeah, yes, he is. Yes. And there's another one. Say hello to the camera. Say hi to the camera. Say hi. Yeah, that's 2 cats. I already showed you one of the cats a couple of years back. Okay, number 9, George Herbert, The Curse of King Tut, or lung infection. Lung. George Herbert, an English earl, is well known as the fictional patron of the expedition to discover the tomb of Egyptian King Tutankhamun. Many people, including Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, warned him that by disturbing the tomb, he would bring the mummy's curse upon himself. Herbert died a little more than a month after he entered the tomb, immediately sparking speculation that he had become a victim of King Tut's wrath. Some, including Conan Doyle, believed that the Egyptians had left a poison behind when they sealed it. Others believed I had to go somewhere, sorry. Okay. Others believe that he may have been exposed to toxic fungi that had developed over the centuries. The truth seems to be much less dramatic. Herbert accidentally cut a mosquito bite with his razor and led it to a skin infection. This developed into pneumonia, which Herbert was already susceptible to with a weakened immune system. Could King Tut have sent the insect as punishment from beyond the grave? That remains a mystery. King Tut, he died at 16 years old. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, poisoned by a rival, or strep throat. God, I ran up the stairs and I can't breathe. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart is well regarded as one of the greatest classical composers of all time. He worked on his compositions right up until his death, including his Requiem, a type of piece intended for honoring the dead. I gotta catch my breath. Okay, I'm good. Up until recently, the leading thought was that Mozart was murdered by a rival. The strange play and film Amadeus helped perpetrate this idea, naming Antonio Salieri as the culprit. However, a 2009 study by a European epidemiologist offered a new theory. After examining historical death records from Mozart's home of Vienna, they found a spike in deaths of young men in the city around the time of Mozart's death. The new theory is that Mozart contracted a streptococcal infection during an epidemic in the city. The history books may owe Mr. Salery an apology. Number 7. Vincent van Gogh. Suicide or accidental shooting. Vincent van Gogh is one of the most famous painters of all time, and his reputation as a tortured soul is well known. The basic facts of his death are established. He left the lodging house where he was staying to go paint in a field one morning. We put a scratch pad on my stairs, and so the cat's using it now. And of course, what the frick? My thing's being a big old dick for. You wanna hold on a minute? God. Sorry. Late that night in 1890, he stumbled back with a gunshot wound to the chest and died 2 days later. His brother Theo, who was at his bedside when he died, reported that Van Gogh said that he shot himself. This has long been held as the explanation for his death. He suffered from mental illness throughout his life, including the famous incident where he chopped his own ear off. He just went, yip, he said, yeet, and cut it off. God, I'm being weird. However, modern historians are now discussing a new theory that Van Gogh was accidentally shot by a local boy who often tormented the strange artist. Van Gogh may have claimed that he shot himself in order to protect the boy from being arrested. This theory is supported by the fact that Van Gogh's painting equipment and the gun disappeared from the field where the shooting took place, and the fact that Van Gogh, a religious man, and claimed that he was morally opposed to suicide in the past. I'm not going to get onto that. Oh, God, I love orange juice. Napoleon Bonaparte. Stomach cancer or arsenic poisoning. You know, there's a movie that I've yet to see called Napoleon Dynamite. Europe's great emperor had been forced to retire from his life of conquest to a quiet life of exile on the island of St. Helena in 1815. He started experiencing pain, digestive distress, and sweating. The group of doctors who were at his bedside all agreed that he had died of stomach cancer, which had been seen in his family before. On his deathbed, however, Napoleon proclaimed that the British had poisoned him. His British captors certainly would have benefited from the death of the famed French general, and there is some scientific evidence supporting Napoleon's claim. Fatal levels of arsenic were found in Napoleon's hair during modern tests. Similarly, high levels were also found in the hair of his family. Arsenic was common in many household objects at the time, so it is possible that he had simply absorbed too much of the poison while living on St. Helena. The French government will not allow his body to be exhumed, so this mystery may remain unsolved. Number 5. Alexander the Great. Malaria or genetic disorder. Alexander the Great created a massive empire across Eurasia, including 20 cities named after himself. It is reported that a Hindu prophet and advisor, Callinus, spoke his last words to Alexander: "We shall meet again in Babylon." No one would understand what he meant until Alexander died soon after in Babylon at age 32. He suffered from pain and partial paralysis for almost 2 weeks leading up to his death in 323 BC. When he finally died, he showed no sign of decay for over 6 days, cementing the idea that he was not just a king, but actually a god. His lack of decomposition may be one of the biggest clues in determining Alexander's fate. For much of history, it was thought that he succumbed to tropical disease during his military travels, possibly malaria or typhoid. Many also believe that he could have poisoned from his many political rivals. Many also believe that he could have been poisoned, I should say. However, new research suggests a new theory. Alexander may have been suffering from Guillain-Barré syndrome, I hope I said that right, GBS, an autoimmune disorder that causes paralysis and death. He may have not shown signs of decomposition for days because he was not dead yet, just paralyzed. Oh, God, no. No, just imagine being paralyzed from the head down and you can't even talk. Oh, God, that would... nope, I'm good. William II is coming in at number 4. Hunting accident or murder? English King William II, nicknamed William Rufus because of his red hair, enjoyed the classic noble pastime of hunting. It was one of these hunting trips that resulted in his death while out on his expedition in 1100 AD, sorry. An arrow was shot through William's lung. This is not your lung. This is your heart. This is your lungs right here. William's lung killing him. Who exactly shot the king is unknown, although a man named Walter Tyrrell was mentioned in reports. The group of nobles who were with him returned home without his body and reported the incident as an accident. The seemingly random death of such a powerful man raised some eyebrows, especially since William's brother Henry had the entire kingdom to gain with his brother's death. Henry quickly took over the throne after his death and was a member of William's hunting party that day. Was his death a tragic accident or an assassination planned by Tyrrell and Henry? It makes more sense that it was an assassination. Because he's going to get the king... Ball sacks. He's going to get the kingdom to himself. You know what I mean? Number 3, Joseph Stalin. Stroke or political rival? Joseph Stalin was one of the most brutal leaders of all time, responsible for the deaths of tens of millions of his own citizens. His own death was not violent. The staff at his country home checked in on him after not hearing from him for hours. They found him on his bedroom floor in soiled clothes and a glass of water spilled next to him. It took them almost 10 more hours to call for a doctor, afraid of the dictator's anger. He was shown to be weak. When help arrived, Stalin was partially paralyzed and had extremely high blood pressure, and he later vomited blood before dying and throwing the Soviet Union into chaos. The doctors on the scene decided that it was a stroke. However, Stalin had many enemies who believed that they could take power after his death. Several of his associates had visited him in the days prior to his death, and they reportedly drank wine together. There has been some speculation among modern historians that one of them may have slipped a blood thinner into his wine that would have closely mimicked the symptoms of a stroke. A fittingly dastardly end for an evil man. Number 2, Allan Pinkerton, bitten tongue or malaria? How do you die from biting your tongue? Whatever. Allan Pinkerton is a name synonymous with spying and the detective agency that he founded set the precedent for intelligence and crime solving for centuries to come. He saved newly elected President Lincoln from an assassination attempt in 1861. Well, he didn't help him 4 years later. Pinkerton was even responsible for the term private eye, which came about because of the Pinkerton's agency logo of an eye and the slogan, "We never sleep." Wow. For many years, it was believed that the Pinkerton suffered a death that lacked the pizzazz of his career. It was reported that he tripped and bit his tongue while walking his dog and later died of, gangrene from the injury. That's how you can die. Gangrene. Gangrene is freaking disgusting. Sorry. However, modern interpretation suggests that Pinkerton may have actually died of malaria that he caught while on a trip to the southern part of the United States. It has also been suggested that he died of a stroke that he suffered a year before his death. Whatever did happen to Pinkerton, he suffered a year before his death. Or, it also has been suggested that he died. Whatever did happen to Pinkerton, his private detective agency remains in operation to this day. Wow. And number 1, Pablo Neruda, cancer or poison? Pablo Neruda was a Nobel Prize winner, politician, and poet when he died 12 days after the military takeover of Chile in 1973, or Chile. His official death certificate lists his cause of death as cancer cachexa, but Neruda lacked the main symptoms of this type of cancer death: extreme weight loss. In fact, doctors described him as obese at the time of his death. Neruda's political activism could have been a problem for the new regime in the country, and he may have been assassinated as a result. 6 men were arrested in 2009 for poisoning the former Chilean president at approximately the same time that Neruda died. Originally, the president's death was recorded as septic shock, but turned out to be poisoning by thallium and mustard gas. Mustard gas? What the hell? In 2013, Neruda's chauffeur revealed that the poet had called him from the hospital and said that an unknown person had injected him in the stomach. A panel of 16 scientists unanimously decided in 2017 that Neruda did not die of cancer, but the true cause of death has not been determined. Well, thank you all for watching this video. If you did enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, comment, share. Don't share, actually. Don't do that. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I'll see you all later. Bye.